and welcome to Moto News Now. Today, I've got a loaded video for you. So much so I had to split it in two, and the second half will come out tomorrow, along with any new news that comes out. But anyway, on top of that, I screwed up yesterday and got copyrighted by Feld for my Jordan Smith video. So I had to cut out the clips, and now my video is up with just empty slots in the video. I feel bad for you guys. I'm sorry. I dropped the ball on that one, but I'm going to make it up for you today and tomorrow, hopefully. All right, let's look at the news I got today. Start out with an MXGP story. ROAN van der MOOSDIJK and Fantic split, and there is some drama involved in that. We'll go through that. Then we got Jeffrey Herlings talking changes that he needs to make in order to battle Prado, how he's feeling off right now and what he needs to change. Then a final one for the MXGP series. A foot injury for MAXIME RENAUX is most likely going to render him out for most of the season, so we'll look at that. Then I've got a couple Supercross stories for you. We've got an update on Kyle Chisholm after a rough LCQ crash on the last lap in Seattle. And then finally, to cap this video off, we've got Jett Lawrence talking about losing in Seattle and that he actually learned from it. Before we get into that, let me tell you guys about my sponsor, Blood Lubricants. I know you've heard me talk about it. If you need oil, this is the place to go. They've got racing oil. They've got chain lube. They've got washing accessories. They've got so much stuff on there, and they put money back into the sport. They sponsor privateers, and of course they sponsor me. Overall, just a fantastic company, full of premium, high-quality products. So head to bloodlubricants.com, show them some love. Use my code TMN25 to get 25% off site-wide. One final thing, if you are not a MagPass subscriber, I'd want to set it up now if I was you. We've got my next magazine coming out in a couple weeks now, a week and a half maybe. It'll be up for pre-order soon, but if you become a MagPass subscriber, you'll get it automatically in the mail. If you're not interested in subscribing for the year, you can head there and buy a single issue. Anyway, let's get into the video. All right, so let's start off with a ROAN van der MOOSDIJK drama with Fantic Racing. So, ROAN van der MOOSDIJK signed with the new MXGP Factory Fantic team early this year. He was pumped, the team was pumped, and of course all the fans were excited because we're going to get to see MOOSDIJK on a factory ride in his MXGP season, which was unlikely at first. Well, the whole thing fell apart. So, in a recent Instagram update, van der MOOSDIJK announced his departure from Fantic Racing Team. This comes after a month of rumors regarding this. The Dutch rider, who was recently transitioned to the premier MXGP class, had to miss the initial 2 rounds of the World Championship due to a knee injury sustained in preseason. Today, via Instagram, der MOOSDIJK confirmed that he and the Fantic Racing Team have mutually agreed to part ways. Van der MOOSDIJK's statement reads, quote, after careful negotiation and consideration, Fantic Racing Team and Van der MOOSDIJK's management, Mr. Albert Dallavaux, have reached an agreement that is satisfactory to both parties. As part of this agreement, the parties have decided to end their partnership, and Van der MOOSDIJK will have the freedom to join another team within the MXGP. Van der MOOSDIJK will continue his professional MXGP career at another team and anticipates announcing his new team affiliation shortly. Both Fantic and Van der MOOSDIJK are now looking forward to focusing on the future and the success on the track that lies ahead. Therefore, we will not be providing further comments on this matter. Quite a surprising announcement and kind of unexpected to all of us, but there was quite a bit of background drama and rumors going on for about a month to add into this equation. In a second, we'll look at some of that. We got some from a Dutch media company who talked to both sides of them and got a little bit of juice out of this story, but Van der MOOSDIJK's sole race for Fantic was at the Hawkstone International, where he twisted his knee, which subsequently ruled him out of MXGP for a couple rounds at least. However, it is believed that he will be able to return to racing soon. All right, so the Dutch media outlet Omroep Brabant, I think that's how you pronounce it, I'm not quite sure, has reached out to both parties to gather their perspectives on the situation. Here's what both sides had to say. So Fantic Factory Racing's team owner Louis Vosters said, quote, difference of opinion, we do not meet each other's expectations. The situation had become unworkable and in extreme form. The boy has himself to blame, and I am not okay to say more about it. Quite aggressive. Van der MOOSDIJK's camp had the opposite to say. They said, quote, there is no mutual approval. Everything is now up to the lawyer, and we therefore cannot say much about the content. But Rowan and I recognize absolutely nothing in his story. All these months they have had only said that he is a great boy and the best they have. It is still a huge surprise and disappointment for us, a bolt from the blue. Fortunately, we received many messages of support from all over the world. So obviously that's not the full story, but we did get a little bit from each side, kind of understand the situation a little more. So quite obviously they're disagreeing pretty badly. But the whole thing just doesn't make sense to me. So they sign him. He does one preseason race and gets hurt. He's out with injury. The team says he didn't meet his expectations and they had a difference in opinion. And the MOOSDIJK's camp says otherwise. It's a pretty weird breakup, in my opinion. Something's not adding up here, but that's all we know. So that's the end of Van de MOOSDIJK and Fantic. Now, there might be a possible future for him on a factory team in MXGP. There's an opening that I will talk about later in this video, so stick around to find out regarding that. All right, Jeffrey Herlings, the Red Bull KTM rider, has had a rough start to the 2024 season, finishing 8th overall in Argentina and 4th in Spain this weekend. Now, 4th is obviously a quite good finish in general, but for Herlings, no, it's not. The Bullet can do better than that. So definitely not the Jeffrey we once knew. Some people like PulpMX, Steve Mathis, going as far as to say it's over for the Bullet. There's nothing left. Now, I don't believe that. I think there's still a flame left in him, but why is he struggling so bad? Well, part of the reason is he's trying to be more of a conservative rider. He's always been a very attack mode, go as fast as he can every lap for every race kind of guy, and it just hasn't worked for him in recent years. When he was younger, maybe, but now it just doesn't work. So there's that, and Argentina and Spain were very dangerous tracks. So he tried to ride his ride and just stay safe, stay on two wheels, come out healthy. He's been injured year after year for a while now, and he just wants to make it to every race and get back into the title battle. It's been a couple of years since he's been in the title battle. So on top of that, he's just straight up off pace from Prado. I'm sure riding more conservatively is part of it, but he's off pace, and Herlings did admit that in a post-race interview with Gate Drop. Let's hear what he said about what he needs to do in order to battle Prado and just get back to his A game. Here's that clip.
Obviously starts. What specifically will you work on the next few weeks to get to Prado's level?
I need everything better. I just my physical side. I think my physical side is fine. I need a bit more speed. I need better starts. I mean, I did a few good starts. Like Hawkson took 2 whole shots on the Dutch races. I took 2 really good starts. I took whole shots. So it's basically on the weekend. You know, I was always next to Prado, and he's just like a great starter. And he every time went to the ride, and then it messed up my start, but. You know, I knew that when I would line up next to him, he always goes a bit to the right and he opens up for the first turn. So I knew it, so it's not like any excuse or anything. And yeah, even if I would have taken a whole shot today, I would have nothing for him. So it's all right. You know, we were again way better in Argentina, and next step is podium, hopefully.
Is it easier for you to accept not being the fastest? Because you've always pretty much been the fastest guy since you were at probably 2. Is part of you still angry that you're not the fastest, or and the other part's going just be calm, or how is it for you mentally?
It's hard because right now, also on the hot laps, like in time practice, I was a second off, and I felt like when I crossed the finish line and I did the lap, I was like, oh, this is basically all I got for now, and I was still like 1 second off. So I mean, I'm not getting any younger. I'm turning 30 almost, and you see the same with Tomac. I mean, he's been the fastest for 10 years, and now Jett, you know, things. Yeah, you know, they change, you know. So let's hope he goes to the US. At least he's gone next year.
So there you have it. Simple answer. He needs to work on everything. But he's making moves in the right direction. 8th overall to 4th overall in the first 2 rounds is a big difference. And he was tied for 3rd with Febvre overall. So you could see it in his body language in Spain, too. He had more speed and was more comfortable on the bike. You could just see it. It looked more similar to championship-level Herlings. Argentina was just bad. It was not even Jeffrey. He was so far off, it didn't look like him. He just rode his race. That's it. But, hey, I have confidence in him. I'm a huge Herlings fan. Never count that man out. I'm also hoping that Prado goes to U.S. comment was hilarious from Jeffrey. I'm glad he's got a sense of humor about losing. Humility is good to see from him because he used to have a huge ego problem back 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. So I'm glad to see that he's very humble now. All right, let's take a look at MAXIME Renault. It looks like Factory Yamaha MXGP's Renault season was short-lived. As you guys probably know, last year he was a rookie, and he hurt his foot pretty badly early in the season, and it knocked him out of contention for a while. Even when he came back, he wasn't the same. This year he was hoping to come back in full speed and back to peak health. Unfortunately, it's not looking like that's the case. In Argentina, he finished 5th overall. Not too bad after dealing with a year basically off the bike and injured. And coming back from such a rough foot injury, those are hard to deal with all the small bones and tendons in there. And then in Spain, he maintained consistency. He got great starts, both in the quali race and in Moto 1, and he was battling with the top guys for a while, but he finished 5th place yet again. Unfortunately, He was battling foot pain the entire race. He said it bothered him in Argentina as well, but it's becoming a chronic problem. That being said, he dropped out of the race before Moto 2, so he went 5 DNS for 11th overall on the weekend. Renault spoke about it after the race, saying, quote, "The foot injury from last year keeps bothering me. I had a lot of pain during the first moto, really terrible. It is too dangerous to continue riding like this on one leg. Therefore, we decided to skip the second moto. I will now see my doctor to find a solution for this problem as soon as possible, with or without surgery." Unfortunately, the surgery route is looking highly likely, and I hear Yamaha is already seeking a fill-in rider. Like I mentioned before, we now have an opening on Yamaha, and we have a rider that's freshly divorced from Fantech, so possibly a good opportunity for Rowan van der MOOSDIJK. That's obviously just me putting 2 and 2 together. That's just correlation. So I don't have any special information on it. I'm just saying the correlation is there, and it's possible. It'd be awesome for van der MOOSDIJK. Anyway, the surgery route is looking highly likely. Unfortunate situation for Renault. We have seen blips of extreme talent on the 450 from this kid. Obviously, he was super talented on the 250. We know he can win races. Hopefully, he can get healed up, and hopefully we can see him back lining up again soon. I love this rider. He's fantastic. He's got so much talent. He just has to stay on the bike and get back to being healthy. Let me know what you guys think about Renault being out again. All right, on to some Supercross stories. We have an update on Kyle Chisholm. HEP Motorsports' Kyle Chisholm experienced a frightening crash during the 450 LCQ in Seattle on Saturday in his pursuit of securing a spot in the main event. Chiz showcased impressive veteran moves to put himself in a favorable position. During the final lap, in what was one of the most thrilling races of the night, Chisholm found himself on the outside with only a few turns remaining. He needed to overtake Ryan Brees for the last transfer spot and was right on his tail. But as he tripled into the rhythm section, he unfortunately overshot the landing and went over the handlebars. The last we saw of him was a replay of him lying on the ground. It wasn't good, but here's that clip. Verb Moto journalist Troy Dogg reached out to Chiz today to check on his well-being to see if he's injured, if he's all right. He gave a short and simple response saying, quote, "Yeah, I'm all good, just a small bruise on my leg, but that's it. I'm completely fine, thankfully." So glad to see Chiz is fine. That could have been really bad. Luckily, he got caught on the bike. His foot kind of got caught up there to hold him up, so his head didn't smash the ground or his neck get tweaked. So he got lucky there. Glad to see he's all right. And I just figured I'd give you guys an update on Chiz because we're all Chiz fans. All right, final story of the day. 450 points leader Jett Lawrence speaks about losing in Seattle and what he's learning. He's been on a pretty dominant streak over the past month especially. He's made very few mistakes as of late. In Seattle, he looked pretty good, and in the main event, it was clear that he could reach and pass the leaders. He had the speed. Unfortunately, some mistakes and impatience got to him. Had he not shot to the inside of Webb trying to go for a really aggressive pass that ended up backfiring, I think he would have caught and passed both Webb and Sexton. So what does Jett think about losing a race that he could have won? Jett spoke with Lewis Phillips of Vital MX after the race on this topic. Here's a quick clip.
I mean, I had a look at it, but just with the kind of bent bars or the bent rubbers basically, and kind of having that, it's a little difficult with this track. And I mean, I could have taken the risk and kept going, but just it was a smarter decision just to kind of, all right, we'll just take third instead of trying to make it into a bigger mistake, you know.
Than Indy, because terrible start, crashed, stalled, and realistically you probably could have still won. That in itself is quite a nice confidence boost to leave with.
Don't tell me that. Now I'm going to get more mad about it. But no, it's yes and no. I think it's also good because when you lose, you can learn a lot more than when you're winning. So I think no, it's a good learning curve.
So what is Jett learning from this? Well, the championship game. For most of his career, it's been just win, 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 win. For the title, he didn't really focus on it. The wins just came week after week, and he obviously won the title. Well, now he's learning you got to cut your losses sometimes and take a lousy third. I'm uncomfortable on the track. It's dangerous. I've made a couple mistakes. Just cut your losses and take third place home. That sounds good. That's the mindset he's going to get down. And I think once he gets that down, it's game over for Sexton and Webb. That's like a Ricky Carmichael mindset. He preaches about that a lot with guys. So what do you guys think of Jett Lawrence beginning to race conservatively for the championship? Is this the beginning of the end for the rest of the field? Let me know your thoughts down below. All right, well, that's all I have for today. Again, I had to split the video in half because it was so long. Thanks for watching. Check out my sponsor, Blood Lubricants. They've got a bunch of stuff on there, bloodlubricants.com, and use my code to support me. And again, Go buy a magazine on my website. Links in the description for both of those things. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's video.